All right, joining us now is the current and set soon to be retired in the next few months, Judge Stephen Floyd of Tom Green County. Judge Floyd, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity, especially a pretty important day for Tom Green County going forward. So thanks.
Absolutely. Does it feel weird that that towards the end of this year, next year, this time next year, that you will not be the judge of Tom Green County?
Well, it's mixed emotions. Obviously, anytime that you serve an organization for 31 years, between my justice of the peace and commissioner and judge days, and it's hard to walk away. But this county does not owe anything to me. I owe everything, my livelihood, my sense of purpose, and everything to Tom Green County. But that part will be hard to walk away from. The campaigning, after 18 campaign cycles throughout my career, I don't miss the campaign part of it anymore. I miss the people, but I just soon visit with them with something about other than having to ask them for my vote.
Well, very good. Well, Judge Floyd, we're seeing a lot of we're seeing four other individuals: Mr. Joe Hyde, Lane Carter, Tommy Usry, and Todd Coles, all vying to succeed you here, and within the next few months. But and kind of one of the biggest campaign topics that we've been hearing along the way, and certainly a lot of these forums is economic development. And this is kind of one thing that we've kind of had a question about, and we've been wanting to ask you about this. When it comes to economic development in the county judge, and certainly Tom Green County, does that have a place in that?
It certainly is a part of what goes on, especially we really had very little opportunity until the last 6 or 7 years that have come along. Our partnership, and primarily, of course, we make contributions to the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, primarily for their economic development efforts. So we farm that out to them. They do a great job. Somewhat the court's responsibility is when they come in is to try to negotiate an agreement that is as beneficial to the Tom Green County residents as it could be, but not to the point that the project is not going to happen. And of course, you never know where that line is. And I'll use an example. We have adopted and agreed to about 7 abatement agreements for renewables, primarily in solar and 1 wind farm. Out of that, only 2 of those are under construction, and we believe 1 more is fixing to start. So it's always it's a determination. It's a business a discussion, and no one wants to show their whole cards, but we did change the dynamics early on with our very first one, what everybody else in the state were doing, and tried to get progressive. We hired some outside consultants that were paid for by the applicants to kind of help us move. And we really changed the dynamics for the state of Texas and how they're doing this. So I think they just need to be aware and know who their partners that are out there recruiting and who's probably going to be contacted first for somebody that's looking for your area. So that's primarily how we have been involved in this.
That makes
and
sense.
Just being a good ambassador for the county as you're traveling,
Recruiting and retention of the Tom Green County Jail, because that's been another big issue, and that's kind of one that you've seen within the last few years. How much of that needs to kind of be addressed moving forward in efforts to kind of keep jobs or keep people there within the jail and within the Tom Green County law enforcement?
Well, Manny, I wish I knew exactly what the answer to that question was. Of course, it in every industry, every business, everything, staff is everything. Tom Green County is nothing. We're in the service industry, and it's hard to get serviced by a robot. It is the people. And there are roughly 30 5 different departments within the county. 27 of those are by elected officials. And the Commissioners Court's obligation through the budget cycle, each one of those elected officials takes an oath to uphold the laws of the state of Texas and faithfully perform those duties. So part of the budgeting process, the Commissioners Court, is to give those people the resources to get their job, their oath done. So it's every year it's the start of the budget process, and we try to try to realize what is currently happening in the community at that time, whether it's a short staffing situation or depending on economic conditions, and try to put a placeholder in the budget of what we're going to do for staffing. And it's a continuing challenge. And it seems like every time we think that we make some pretty decent headway, which over the last 2 years, through a salary study and a classification study, we took big steps into moving us, trying to get up in the middle of the range for counties our size for compensation. And we didn't get all the way there, but we got a long ways. But the last 10 months, things have very much changed in the labor market and the pay scales, and it's going to have to be addressed again. And I have one more budget. We will continue to try to do that. My philosophy has always been, I'm not especially educated in management, but I look at our legacy businesses in this community that's been around for some of them 100+ years, that are still relevant and doing good business. And it seems like their model is to attract good people and take care of them and get them to stay with you. And so that's my philosophy, and it seems to be the Commissioners Court philosophy, and I hope they will maintain that going forward.
Now, as we said to start this interview, that 4 men are vying to succeed you. What do you foresee as one of the bigger challenges for one of these 4 individuals who haven't really had any true experience working for the county, or really held a commissioner type of position?
That one's probably one of the easier ones to answer. Nearly everyone comes to the Commissioners Court without knowing for sure what it's about. From my position, specifically, I inherited some personnel here that were certainly able to move to help me transition. I have a great team around me. Any success I've had, I owe most of it to them. They're great people. They what I call ride for the brand. They're dedicated to getting things done right. And I think that they're going to ensure the success of anyone that comes. I have that much confidence in them that they will succeed. Each of these gentlemen bring special strengths. I think all of them are qualified to be the county judge. I think they could make that transition. The judicial side of it has a great support system built through the Texas Association of Counties, and the Judges and Commissioners Association have great educational programs. Obviously, some of them probably would adapt quicker than others, but my judicial duties are primarily probate, guardianship, and mental health. But on 2 of those, we have 2 court at law judges that handle also that docket. So that's going to be a good transition that will occur. But again, 80% of the county judges in Texas that handle criminal, civil, and the things that I do are non-attorneys. So the system is designed for that. The administrative part of it, part of that, once they get here, and if they'll take the opportunity to really get through a budget cycle, and whoever is successful, I hope, will spend time in our budget cycle this year, because it is absolutely the best way to learn about the interactions and really the complexity of county government, the number of different departments and how they fit together. I'm fixing to work on budget number 15 since I got here as a commissioner, and I learn things every year about that I did not realize how they occurred. So it's a great learning curve. And once they get here, they will see some things. They will bring new ideas, a new way of doing business, a new energy. And really, that's part of the reason that I decided it was probably time for me to step aside and let somebody younger, faster, smarter, you know, to bring for the challenges that we're going to face. So, kind of that's where we're at, in my opinion.
Well, Judge Floyd, I am going to ask you who your preference is when it comes to the next county judge. But before that, I do want to ask you what are you going to miss the most about leading Tom Green County?
Well, obviously, the people that I've worked with, you develop some close relationships over the years. There's people that have been working here 25, 30, approaching 40 years that you have a lot of confidence in. And you're going to miss working with those. And, if you have a servant's heart, then, when you walk away with something, it's hard to not think of yourself as a quitter. And I am. I chose voluntarily to finish out this term and go. But I have enough respect for the county. I think it's time for some new leadership and going on. Now, as far as my preference, I think you know good and well that I can't answer that. Canons of judicial conduct preclude me from doing that. And I just as soon stay here till the end of the year instead of getting thrown out for throwing support behind a candidate.
Well, I don't think they'll throw you out. In fact, if anything, because we've seen you mow the lawn there at the Tom Green County Courthouse. Maybe they can get you back doing that.
Well, if they get in a bind again, I will volunteer. That brought a lot of interest, but you would be amazed in some of the smaller counties how broad of duties the county judge ends up with. They carry around a tool belt to fix stuff in the courthouse. So that's not unusual for the county judge to have to do some things. But I would be, if it'll rain and the grass will grow, I'll volunteer to mow it just as soon as it's needed. I promise.
Well, there we go. I'm sure the county's going to hold you to that once they see this. Well, very good, Judge Floyd. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your service. You've held many hats, worn many hats with the county. We appreciate your service, and I'm not going to say we're going to miss you yet because you still have some time with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I just want to say, whomever is emerges as the elect, we will make this office completely open and supportive of them for as long as for whatever they want to make the transition as easy as possible. And I'm not saying I'm not going to change my cell phone number, but if I do, whoever takes my position will certainly have that number. So we're here to support it going forward.
All right, Judge Stephen Floyd, we thank you so much, and we wish you well this for your future endeavors, and we thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you, Manny and San Angelo Live, for being so supportive in covering the campaigns. An informed voter makes better selections. Y'all certainly given the candidates every opportunity to inform the voter. So thank you for that.
Most definitely, most definitely. Alrighty, Judge Stephen Floyd set to retire here at the end of his term. We wish him well, and meanwhile, we'll get back to our coverage.